Hey, we're 17 seconds in.
Hey man, how the hell you doing? I've been just fine, living life with the noose and in my mind, all I hear is music. Watching your mouth move, damn you look stupid. I feel like everyone's a stranger. Small talk with your narcissistic neighbor. She's real hot, but they said to never date her. I agree, but you did and I hate her. You wanna get away? You better get in line. Won't go another day of wasting any time. I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. Got no filter, I got no filter. 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 Hey man, can I get a favor? Yeah, sure, no, see you later. Sometimes I just wanna be a hater. Gotta wash down the top 40s with a chaser. Your voice starts feeling like a waiter. Scraping my mind against a cheese grater. Before you go, sir, you have to sign a waiver. That's alright, I'm aware of the danger. You wanna get away? You better get in line. Won't go another day of wasting any time. I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. Got no filter, I got no filter. 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 No filter, I got no filter.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to Guns and a 701 special Thursday edition. Jamie and I weren't able to tune in last night, but we hope everybody's watching. Looks like we got 12 on so far. Just a quick reminder, if you're wanting to chat, you can do it on the Facebook page. I am not sure about YouTube, but it looks like to me that the Facebook chats will come through. So, how are we doing today, Jamie?
Doing good. How about yourself, Clayton?
Well, it was actually a productive day, a little cloud cover. It wasn't hotter than hell out there. So yeah, got a
Good.
little hay moved, got some stacked, even baled up the old weed area from where we fed. So yeah, it was a good productive day.
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah, so if anybody got any, I'm in a different spot tonight than usual. It almost sounds like I'm hearing some echo. If somebody's hearing that, let me know so I can get you that change next week. But you're gonna have to suffer with it from now on, at least for the
Yeah.
rest of the night. So,
Hey,
hey,
good
Waylon, how you
evening.
doing?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. And hey, Trampus. Hey, good to see you tuned in. Trampus is, well, let's just say he's got some great bulls over there. If you're looking for some awesome bulls, I'll give you a free plug. Get some Brenner Red Angus bulls, guys. I can't say enough about them. They're easy keepers. You put them out, and them things they go to work. So You're not ever going to be disappointed in those.
Hey, Kelsey.
Well,
Before we get started, our first topic here, Clay. I just noticed that Sig Sauer's got a product warning. They come out on a recall for some 9mm, 115 grain elite ball FMJ ammo. So if you got any of that, be aware of that.
Yep.
Take it back to where you got, or get a hold of Sig and see what they tell you. So
did they say to take it to the actual place you bought it, or contact them, or don't you remember?
Here. Boy, I looked at it. Sig Sauer we provided. Oh yeah, right here. You can call Sig's, return your product to Sig Sauer. You can call customer service 603-610-3000 option 1.
There we go.
Sig Sauer 9mm, but it ain't that stuff. So
Marty, thanks for tuning in tonight. Caution, this show may make you feel patriotic and want to shoot something or blow it up. You got that right.
That's for sure. It'll do that.
And I hear Marty's going to be at the Man Parade, but before we get into a few things, that Man Parade, it's going to be, of course, in Mandan. It sounds like, 10 o'clock they're going to start, but it's going to be a walking deal, not really a float deal. So I'm guessing you and I are going to have to go, got our single point slings and some Freedom Seed delivery systems hanging on our chest and having some fun, right?
Why wouldn't you, right?
Sounds like a good time. We're men. I mean, this is what that's about. So anyway, well, we'll be talking about that a little bit more, but they did have a few more details, and I hear Marty's going to be there, so that's good to hear.
All right, let's hit that first topic we were talking about earlier, Clayton.
Yeah, I was kind of going through some things, and Jamie hit on it too. And so, as expected, and this has happened before, gun control groups, and I'm sure it's a who's who of them. I didn't bother to go look who they were on the petition, but petition was filed with the Federal Trade Commission. Now they're the ones that actually regulate commercial speech. So they're the ones that got all the beer commercials kicked off and some of the the cigarette ads and things like that. Hey, Josie.
Yep.
See the Rax Adventure team. Them boys are tuning in. Good to see you guys.
Appreciate you guys.
But the petition filed with them, it says that several large firearm prohibition organizations claim that any suggestion that firearms provide protection to their owners or make their homes safer is a tantamount to false advertising. The petition also suggests that the use of patriotic, militaristic, or macho images and language in firearm advertising, the same themes used to sell everything from beer to vehicles to sunglasses, is deliberately being used to appeal, get this, guys, here's these words again, to insurrectionists and mass shootings. How about that? Now, if we're just doing what we've done always, now we're insurrectionists or even mass shooters. Wow.
That's unbelievable, right?
Oh, it's 1984, the book and the movie wasn't supposed to be a blueprint on how to take over the world. That was supposed to be a fictional, entertaining movie. But
right,
I tell you what, that's what it's happening. I can tell you that.
Well, I mean, I'd like to know what commercials they think are doing that, because of masculinity. I mean, hey, watching advertising for a football game, I guarantee you there's a preseason game night. The guys with big muscles running people over, stomping them. It's all violent.
Yep.
Are they gonna come after that kind of thing too?
Oh, they already have. Remember the toxic masculinity?
No, I'm telling you,
they're
not doing it in the NFL.
No,
you know what I mean?
No,
they're not going to come after football.
The NFL. That's because they went woke a couple of years ago, so they're safe.
Yeah.
Indoctrinating, brainwashing, marketing. Absolutely, I agree.
Only soft-handed.
And then only soft-handed fellows can sell buns now. I like that one, Brian.
You ain't kidding anybody there. You ain't kidding anybody. So, okay, they had the whole committee hearing there, and the Democrats are grilling these three guys from Smith & Wesson and Ruger and what's the AR company down there in Georgia?
I should know this off the top of my head. Hey, Vance, chime in.
Yeah, Daniel Defense. Daniel
Defense. There you go, Daniel's Defense. Yep.
So they wanted these gun companies all admit that they're responsible for these mass shootings, and that they should pretty much repent and quit making these guns. And so I got the letter here, or it's it's a letter, but it's what Mark Smith, president and CEO of Smith and Wesson, had to say back to these people. And I mean, it's not too long, but I'm gonna read it to you because I sure as heck can't remember all this. So he said, a number of politicians and their lobbying partners in the media have recently sought to disparage Smith and Wesson. Some have had the audacity to suggest that after they have vilified, undermined, and defunded law enforcement for years, supported prosecutors who refuse to hold criminals accountable for their actions, overseen the decay of our country's mental health infrastructure, and generally promoted a culture of lawlessness. Smith & Wesson and other firearm manufacturers are somehow responsible for the crime wave that has predictably resulted from these destructive policies. But they are the ones to blame for the surge in violence and lawlessness, and they seek to avoid any responsibility for the crisis of violence that they have created by attempting to shift the blame to Smith & Wesson and other firearm manufacturers and law-abiding owners. It is no surprise that the cities suffering most from violent crime are the very same cities that have promoted irresponsible soft-on-crime policies that often treat criminals as victims. Sorry, I got a little something in a gizzard here. Victims as criminals. Many of these same cities are also maintain the strictest gun laws in the nation. But rather than confront the failures of their policies, certain politicians have sought more laws restricting Second Amendment rights and law-abiding citizens while simultaneously continuing to undermine the institutions of law and order and to suppress the truth. Some now seek to prohibit firearm manufacturers and supporters of the Second Amendment from advertising products in a manner designed to remind law-abiding citizens that they have a constitutional right to bear arms in defense of themselves and their families. To be clear, Smith & Wesson firearm has never broken into a home. A Smith & Wesson firearm has never assaulted a woman out for a late-night run in the city. The Smith & Wesson firearm has never carjacked an unsuspecting driver stopped at a traffic light. Instead, Smith & Wesson provides these citizens with the means to protect themselves and their families. We are proud of our 170-year history. We are proud of the commitment of our employees to making a quality product. We are proud to provide law-abiding citizens and law enforcement, our customers, with the tools to provide the security and independence. We are proud of our responsible business practices. We will continue to work alongside law enforcement, community leaders, and lawmakers who are generally interested in creating safe neighborhoods. We will encourage those who genuinely seek productive discussions, not a means of scoring political points. We will continue informing law-abiding citizens that they have a constitutionally protected right to defend themselves and their families. We will never back down in defense of our Second Amendment. So that's Mark Smith, president and CEO of Smith & Wesson. And I mean, usually they don't fight back like that, to be honest with you, Clay. That's a pretty hard-hitting letter, actually.
I thought it was outstanding when it came out. And it's even, I don't know if you remember a few years back when Smith & Wesson was like the redheaded stepchild of manufacturing for firearms. You remember when they made the deal with the Clinton administration back in the 90s? And that was after they had sold out to a company out of Britain owned them for a while. And they stood up and they made this great big hoopla about how they were going to not sell to civilians and they were going to only sell certain firearms. And basically, Smith & Wesson pretty much they were on the verge of bankruptcy by that company. Then it was sold to Safety Lock, I believe was the name of the company. And then they got out of the deals they made. All of a sudden, Smith & Wesson was back on the market selling to us as law-abiding citizens. And of course, now they're back on their own. And them guys, I'm glad to see that you got a CEO like that, and they're taking a hard stand, and they basically give a big old finger to Congress, as they should, and as every gun company should. It isn't the product. That'd be like saying, hey, Ford, Chevy, Ram, hey, all of you guys, you know what? Your stuff kills people when they get in and drink. Oh, by the way, all Anheuser-Busch, you guys are responsible too. I mean, that is what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that the gun is the problem or the object is the problem, and that's not the problem, as we know.
Right. Well, and then they always ask you why you need an AR-15. I mean, it's just like telling a carpenter or something, why the hell do you need 3 different kind of saws? I mean, different guns do different things, or you know, like you were just talking about automobiles. Hey, I prefer a pickup. You prefer a car. Well, why the hell should everybody just drive a car around? Why would you you know, it's.
Or, you know, like I have a 1-ton diesel. Well, I pull with that. You know else? I just like it, so I drive it more than I probably need to, but it wasn't about need. It was my want.
Right.
Well, guns ain't a need. they're a right, and that's even a bigger difference. We have a right. The word need does not appear in a 27 words in the Second Amendment. It just doesn't. It isn't there. So I was really happy to see Smith and Wesson take such a hard line on that. And you're right. I see in the comments they all need to stand up. All the manufacturers need to stand up and fight that way. They absolutely do.
Yeah, you can't just let one of them do it and then he's a punching bag. They got to band together because I mean, there's Moms Demand Action has like 10 million members now.
Yeah,
we
that's
got
something.
yeah,
We got 5 to 6 in the NRA. I don't know where Gun Owners of America stands. I mean, we own what was the last estimate? It's over 100 million firearms that are in the public in the civilian market. It's probably even closer to 200 now. But so I mean, there is a standing army of patriots out there. They just don't necessarily join all the organizations.
Right. It's a small. Well, it's like a lot of things. It's just a small group that's holding everybody else up, which sucks. But I mean, I've tried to get a lot of people to join any kind of pro-gun organization and get involved because any little bit helps. And as we said before, Clayton, the NRA is massively outspent by anti-gun organizations. Mike Bloomberg spends millions, and I mean, $1 million on Mike Bloomberg's like me finding a freaking nickel in my couch cushion. So,
and think about that. Those same people. It's a little bit on a different subject, but all of these woke liberal commies, and that's what they are. They always seem to be wealthy beyond our imagination.
They
those
are.
On the other side, we've got some wealthy people, but nothing like that. And we still, funny thing is, we spend literally a fraction of what they do and still win. So that tells you that the heartland of America is still alive and well. They're still out there and they're still fighting. But if that ends, then we got an issue.
Well, the leftists act like they're always the poor people, but they have the billionaires and millionaires that are leftists outnumber the right wing guys big time too.
Big time.
It's actually amazing sometimes that we still have as much political power as we do. But speaking of woke leftists, I was going to say I know you don't like football, Clayton, but not too long, a couple weeks ago here, I would say about 4 weeks ago, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, he does do and say a lot of conservative things, and so does Kid, but he also pulls some leftist shit sometimes that pisses me off. But so he actually got into a contract with him and Black Rifle Coffee. That's what they started. That's what they're going to serve at Texas Stadium and at their training facility in Frisco, Texas. And boy, you should have saw the uproar from the leftists over that. But I'll give old Jerry credit. He's not backing down. I mean, I even listened to some stations out of Texas on iHeart, and I mean they're talking Black Rifle Coffee on there all the time, and I'm like, okay, well, and as you know, Black Rifle. I think you and I have talked about this when Rittenhouse did his thing. They kind of stepped back from that because Rittenhouse was wearing the Black Rifle Coffee shirt in that interview, and they kind of kept him at arm's length, which pissed me off. And
I'm sure that had to. I wouldn't doubt their lawyers probably told them to do that because if you've ever watched those guys as videos for their advertising,
they're good. They're
pretty hard hitting. Oh, so Josie says that Black Rifle kind of went woke. It could be Josie. I don't know. I'll be honest.
I think he's talking about what I did.
Probably.
I know. I heard him on. I think it was it Rogan or somebody they were on trying to explain it away. But I tell you what, maybe they did go woke on that, but I'd definitely rather have Black Rifle Coffee. I'm in a partnership with an NFL team than some
than Starbucks
with a gender confused freak at the helm. So yeah, we know what these boys from Black Rifle are about. So that's right, Trav. Folks need to understand that ownership of guns is like ownership of a fire extinguisher or 4x4. Believe it.
Yep. And I'm sure that's Vance down there on the Rax Adventure Team one when he talked about part of the problem here is he's absolutely right. They're taking the history, and not even so much they're taking U.S. history out of schools, but they're also taking civics. When I was in the 8th grade, we had a civics class. That was kind of our introduction to how we're supposed to work. And then as we got into I believe it was our junior year, we had U.S. history, and then we took actual government class in our senior year. And I'm telling you, we learned what the Constitution was. We learned what the Bill of Rights was. We had to memorize the Declaration of Independence. And I can tell you, no, I cannot recite it from memory right now. But we had a great understanding of it. We were tested each and every day. We had a quiz at the end of the week on the amendments, and we learned one, and then we just till we got through them all. And we even had the luxury that in 92, when I was a senior, 92, 93, they passed another amendment. So we got to watch that whole process on how the 27th Amendment was passed and then went through and became an amendment to the Constitution. So they don't do that no more. I mean, not even in Lemon, South Dakota here, where my kids are going, when I question the supposed government teacher, and I'll call her out, it's Mrs. Haley Straight. And I can tell you, because I know we got people from my area to watch this. I have no qualms because I told her right there that she should know. I asked her exactly if she knew how many amendments there were. Nope. I said, well, don't you think you should, being you're the government teacher?
Right.
And this is the problem.
Unbelievable.
They're more worried about using things like CNN 10, which I raised holy hell over in the classroom.
That's the real thing. It's going on right now.
Yes, it is. And anyone that's listening, check and see if your schools in those particular classes, history, government class, are using CNN 10. That's not a gun-friendly thing at all, and it is not unbiased. It's got some leftist douchebag on there that runs it and thinks that, oh, he's just a great guy, middle of the road. I guess my middle of the road's different.
That's right, Randy. If you can find the word "need" in the Second Amendment, you can have all the ARs you want, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it don't exist, does it?
No.
We're preaching to the choir here. I mean, the Second Amendment is absolute, and there's no interpretation of it. Those 27 words are really clear, and now we have Supreme Court rulings affirming that on both in D.C. and within the rest of the other 50 states. So, yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of leftist turds, so there's this at Parkland. There's a Parkland dad. It was last week. I feel terrible for the guy. He lost his daughter in Parkland. I have two daughters. I can't imagine what the guy's going through even to this day. But
right.
They were talking about I can't remember if he was on CNN or something. But remember we talked in an earlier episode, Clay, about the North Carolina sheriff who was going to have his AR-15s were in schools with door breachers and extra mags, and pretty much
right.
said, you come in here to harm the school or staff, we're gonna deal with you accordingly. So this guy, they were talking to him about it. Fred Gutenberg's his name. He thinks that having AR-15s in schools for the defense of the school and the children and the staff, he figured that was absolutely insane. So
wow.
My question is, how do you ever get along with people that think that way? Because I think it's absolutely insane that he thinks it's insane to defend teachers and staff and our children with the according firepower.
Well, it's I'm not interested. I don't know about you, and I hope most of our side. I am not interested in compromising with the other side because the other side's crazy. They want to take your guns. What they call a reasonable control is infringement to me. There's no middle ground, nor rights are not negotiable. This ain't like talking about a driver's license, which that's a whole other subject. I don't believe in them either. But I'm telling you, it is a right to keep and bear arms. I have a right to free speech. I have a right to religion. I mean, there's 5 parts of the First Amendment. We have a right to unwarranted searches and seizures. Of course, we just saw that played out really on our president when they did go get a warrant, but I can't imagine that they had any real reasons. But that's another discussion. We got a runaway Department of Justice. It's insane what Merrick Garland. I can tell you this: I'm glad Merrick Garland is not a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah. Hey, no kidding, right? He was middle of the road. Hey, Josie, sounds like you're raising your daughter right there. I just read your comment.
Yeah,
right on.
and
awesome.
Eric, you're absolutely right. And homeschooling and a Christian-based curriculum, that is honestly, and you'll love this, Eric. I just was talking to some people they're involved with the state legislature. North Dakota saw the biggest increase over the last 2 years in homeschooling than they have seen in the last 10 years. So that's telling you, I think China virus put that into hyper gear. People Their kids were at home. They figured out, hey, we can do this on our own. And what are they teaching in our school? We found out a lot of things, didn't we? So I think people said, you know what? I don't need to send my kids back to that indoctrination camp, and they kept them home, and homeschooling went up.
So let's. Before I go to this, what I wanted to bring up here, Clay, I was going to tell you, a buddy of mine was they got like a big in an auditorium. All the teachers come in before the school year starts. You'll be happy to know, and so everybody listening, that they all stood up, and the young man led them, and all in the Pledge of Allegiance at this opening ceremonies for the school year. He sent me the video, and my wife said, "Why do you send me that?" And I said, "Because that's freaking awesome right there."
You have to send that to me. You know, we can play that on here.
Yeah, that's it. It was great. I mean, the whole auditorium was just it was great. And I mean, we did get a few more conservatives elected. I mean, our school board here in Bismarck should. I mean, I think we got one or two up on them as I'm not saying hardcore conservatives, but they're definitely to the right. So, and speaking of the Department of Justice, go ahead, Clayton.
Oh, no, I was just going to give a shout out to Kevin. I believe that's one of our California friends, isn't it?
You bet he is.
And hey, tell you what, they are on the front lines in California on this.
Misfit Patriots, baby.
There you go.
So you were talking about, dang it, I keep cutting you off. Go for it.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we're talking about our alphabet agencies. We just had, remember we had on, was it 2 weeks ago? When we had on Dave.
Yep.
He said we were talking about 80% lowers and that, and he said they were going to have to all be serialized. Well, there was actually a case challenged, one in Texas, and yesterday there was one to put an injunction on this, stopping the sale of 80% lowers and uppers. And actually a judge in North Dakota was one of them who said, no, it's perfectly legal for the ATF to ban these and stop the sale of them. He did, and the one in Texas did. So what made me actually think that is, remember everybody was all freaking horny about how great it was that we did this EPA ruling and we were going to stop the ATF with that. No, I can tell you this: they banned the sale of that 80%ers. You know what? I guarantee you, their ultimate thing is that they don't want you buying an upper and a lower and a barrel for your AR and all that and building your own gun at home, because they ain't got their finger far enough up your rear end then to figure it out what you're doing.
Oh no, yeah, they don't want us having parts. That's for, you know what? I guess they can take all the parts they want. I mean,
Kevin's in Pennsylvania, by the way.
Yeah, I see that. my mistake. Still, misfit Patriots, but
yeah,
I can tell you this right now: they can't take my metal lead away. We will still be able to make barrels, whether they like it or not. I bet you we can even figure out. A lot of people have their own machining, their own milling machines, and they can make a lower.
You can print them. You can
print them with a 3D printer.
That cat's out of the bag, man. They can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No, so I mean, they can try to infringe, and I don't doubt they're going to try hard, and they'll probably even be successful in a lot of aspects. But they will never stop us at this point, ever. They can't. I mean, I don't want to see what I think is coming on the horizon. I hope it never happens. But if this stuff keeps up, I can tell you one thing. If they try to put President Trump in handcuffs like a lot of them keep talking about, that may be the first shots fired.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you there. That's a definite possibility, in my opinion.
3-inch pipe and a 3-inch cord, 3/4-inch pipe and a nail. There you go. I mean, projectiles have been going out the ends of an open round cylinder for years, long before there was an ATF.
Right. Well, you can go down to your hardware store and make yourself a zip gun pretty dang easy. You know what I'm saying?
Easy. Yep. Pretty easy.
I'm kind of looking off the screen here. I got this poll I wanted to talk about from. I don't need to see it. I know what the heck it is anyway. It's from Statista. I don't know if anybody's ever went on Statista, which I kind of found they're fairly. They actually, I would say, almost lean a little right. But I mean, they seem pretty accurate to me. You know, he's a right winger. Of course, they're accurate to him. But they had a poll. Oh, man, I hate even repeating this. It pisses me off. But they asked people who should have control of Congress, you know, come the fall elections. 47% said the Republicans. You're not going to believe what the other number was here, Clay. To keep it a Democrat, 45.
Wow.
only a 2 point after 2 years of these scumbag, low life, anti-American, anti-freedom, gun grabbing suckwads in power, and raising your taxes. You can't even drive. Costs you $80 to fill up my little freaking Nissan pickup.
Yeah.
And
Try
we
filling
only
that
got a
big diesel.
we only got a 2 point advantage in a freaking poll to get rid of the Democrats. I mean, we're doomed.
If there's accuracy in that, that's a
I'm gonna
big
keep looking
problem.
at it. I'm gonna find it here.
I can tell you this: you got to look at the sample and see where they sampled at.
Yeah, like I told you, I've used them for a while, and
I mean, I actually,
it was
you know,
very discouraging to me.
I took statistics class in high school, and then when I went to college. And one thing I learned: never trust statistics anymore. You can make them read any way you want, depending on how you pose the question in a poll, where you took the sample, and how many. And after taking that and learning that particular, I guess I call it a scam. I don't trust polls much anymore. I'd say the best polls that I ever seen done was when I worked for campaigns and we did
Yep.
our own internal polling because we had to know where we were at. And that's how I knew back when I worked in South Dakota that John Thune was going to defeat Tom Daschle. We actually did our own internal polling, and that's what it was saying. When all the other polling said the opposite and then was giving such narrow margins or something like you were talking 2 point lead is all. And we're like, all right, well, our
It just
polls
makes
are
my
saying it's
stomach
way
upset.
bigger than that.
Well, okay, let me give you an example. We had the special election in New York. It was a toss-up district the other night, and guess what?
Mm-hmm.
The Republican got beat by 2 points by some
About 2
scumbag,
points.
insane anti-American leftist. So,
Yep.
and I know
Of course.
Florida, the school district and all that, they dominated down there, but that's
Well, and speaking of Florida, so did you see who the Democrats are going to run? The Rhino,
yeah.
Charlie Crist.
Oh,
He decided to switch and become a Democrat. Ran in the primary, of course, won. And then he gets out there today in a press conference and says, "Hey, all you guys, those of you that vote for DeSantis, I don't want your vote. I don't want your
yeah,
hate."
that's what he said. He straight up.
I was
I'll
like,
give him
"Are you
credit for that.
kidding?"
But
I guess he's straightforward, but oh my
hey,
goodness.
yeah. So Leon, I'm trying to find the sampling here when it was, but
Leon, he was
you know,
saying the same thing I was. What was the size and the
yeah,
demographic? And it does. Unfortunately, in some of these states, take New York, where I really thought the Republican had a chance, but again, it's New York, and that place is. I mean, California and New York, they are lost. They're a loss no matter how you look at it. They're gone. They're full out socialist. I mean, California wants to ban cars, gasoline engines by 2035. Are you kidding?
unbelievable. Yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck
Oh,
with that. Yeah.
They gave him that much time to try it.
Yeah. Well, they already want diesel trucks out of their state. I forget what the deadline is on that. And you know what I say? Let's oblige them. Let's not ship one damn thing to California. Let's see how long that lasts.
Oh, I'm down
Marty,
with that one.
Marty made a good, everyone draws their own line in the sand. Some people's are right under the foot. Some people's lines, you can't see them without binoculars. Yeah, I think my line's out there a ways. I might need a spotting scope, and they haven't quite gotten over it yet.
Yeah, yeah. So I know we got my buddy listening out in Washington there, sending some interesting old school stuff here on the chat line to me. But these out in Oregon, they got a big group out there trying to stop this measure 114.
Okay.
And well, we all know how pro-gun Oregon is, right? Eastern Oregon probably is, but
Yeah.
they just let Antifa run around Portland and out on the coast and beat the shit out of people. But
And wreck their buildings.
yeah. So this won't be as long of a read as the other one here, but I'm just going to kind of go through what this is. Under ballot measure 114, you could literally purchase a home defense gun. The measure requires a class, quote, with live fire training before a person can apply for a permit to purchase a firearm, not carry it, just to buy one. Just to buy one. Okay. There are virtually no facilities that will be available for this training.
No facilities available for the
virtually
training.
none. Yeah. For the
that's
first time
great.
gun buyer, this could well require that you have a gun before you can get a permit to buy a gun. The measure only allows those approved by police to provide the required training to apply for I mean, they just struck that crap down in Bruin, but that's what me and Clay have always said, that's not going to even slow them down, which it's not.
No.
And I mean, that's part of the reason we're doing a show like this, is just because people, they're not stopping. We're not either. We're going to keep bringing this up to you guys. So it's,
and yeah, it's well, it's Oregon. That doesn't surprise me. Make something and say, oh, by the way, there's no way for you to obtain it.
yeah. Well, there's nowhere to even get trained for it. So,
Yeah.
It's the same old thing they want to do, and they're not quitting. So we can't either.
Hey, Leon, you're absolutely right. We have the largest unofficial army, and that's the gun owner, the American gun owners, 70 million plus strong. I think it's even bigger than that now, but I tell you what, if they ever do really wake the sleeping giant, we haven't been woke yet. I mean, we haven't woken up. Well, some of us are. It's bigger than it was just even 2 years ago. But there's still a lot of people out there they're sleepwalking. They go through their normal day, do their normal thing, and as long as everything's honky dory, they don't pay attention. They don't care. They don't get involved. But I will say I've seen more involvement from a lot of new people than I've seen in a long time. But it's not enough. You look at the last primary election here in North Dakota. And yeah, the primaries went well, but did you see how low the turnout was? That's disheartening.
Firsthand, I worked the election.
Yeah. I mean, it was pathetic, the turnout in the primary election, and that's the problem. It really truly is. Until we get people that and Marty makes a very good point here too. He says nothing has changed with the voting systems. Why are we surprised that we still lose? And he's right. And we have a problem in North Dakota. I don't care what Jim Slorm says. He's the assistant or the secretary of state, the assistant secretary of state. We do have a problem in North Dakota. I've been watching North Dakota numbers for some time now. Yes, we keep winning, but that margin's getting smaller. That's what concerns me. Mm-hmm. And we got more and more new people moving in. They bring in these refugees. We got, I call them the Democrat refugees from Minnesota come over, and they land in Fargo and Bismarck and Grand Forks. And you look at those areas, they're turning blue every day. Every day.
The first problem I had with Burgum is Trump gave him every governor the option to not accept any refugees or any, and he, you know what he said? Well, we can't do that. It just looks bad, insinuating that we'd look like a bunch of damn racists for doing it. Well, I still remember the big fight here, and I had a Facebook page up about it. The main reason I oppose is because the vast majority of these people are going to be Democrats.
And I don't want brought them over.
Yeah, I mean, I want a moratorium on any and all immigration. I don't give a damn what it is for 25 years.
And it wouldn't be the first time it's been done in this country. You know that?
Yeah. Well, shit, Woodrow Wilson did it. Was it Wilson or was it?
There were several presidents during that time that did. I mean, they'd let some in, but I mean, we had I'd have to honestly go look it up, and maybe someone on here knows, but it seemed like we did it for like 20 some years. We didn't take any immigrants because we didn't have room for them. We didn't have jobs for them. And I think a lot of that happened. I want to say FDR did it too.
Yeah. I think he did actually. And then finally it was Kennedy's brother, Bobby, I think was AG. And then he opened, he got rid of that policy, I think, and it's been open ever since.
Yeah, well, Kennedy, go figure. Are you reading the chats, guys?
Yeah, Trav, tone it down, buddy. Come on.
But, what do we do? 16% voted. Left is emboldened. We are complacent. That's very true, Randy. We are some of the most complacent, and then when our people are in power, we even get more complacent. I saw that when I worked for the NRA. Man, I hate to say this, but every time a moron like Clinton or a Brock got in there, guess what happened to our membership? It soared. And as soon as we got someone in there that everyone felt was comfortable and there'd be no gun infringements. I'm talking in the presidency. All of a sudden, they didn't renew anymore and they got complacent, and you'd watch membership drop. That's the complacency of our side. I don't understand it. I guess I've just never been complacent. It's like someone here, Brian says, we're waking the sheep up, or it might not be possible to wake them up, but the lions are beginning to pay attention. And I'd say we're lions. I always have been. I do not follow the pack. I lead the pride.
Yeah. Well, Randy's right here, 16% vote. Left is emboldened.
Mhm.
We're complacent. You're correct, Randy, but not only that, when I was there, I bet you most of the people that voted. I mean, I'm 51, and almost everybody who voted was older than me, far older than me. Even the people working the elections were a lot older than me. So, if you have time this fall to do it, work the elections because I mean it's needed. But yeah, I mean most of the people who vote were senior citizens.
And that's getting to be the thing. I mean, I meet young people. I will say this. Now, you look at that 30 to 35, maybe even 28, they're kind of still complacent, but I am just amazed lately at some of these things I've been attending, and I see the 18 to 25-year-olds showing up in force. That is actually reassuring. I'm glad that we're seeing that. I really am. Um, and especially, as everybody knows, Rick Becker has decided to run as an independent in the U.S. Senate, and for a lot of other reasons, other than the obvious, he's tired of not doing anything. From what I gather, we had him on Monday, and I thought it was a great interview.
It was.
I know he's catching a lot of heat, but I can tell you, Rick also he excites that younger crowd. He really does, and that's good
Yeah, he
because
does.
we got to have those guys involved. They are our future.
Yep.
So it's good to see him now. Whether
And
Rick wins or loses, we still, in that aspect, win because we're bringing a whole bunch
well,
of
like
young adults in.
you and I talked about after the show too. It's not that I hate John Hoven and I think he's a piece of garbage or something to that effect, but I need somebody who's going to fight harder.
Yep,
They got to
I
come out
agree.
and say something and not, Hoven's when his answers are so PC and I can't take that. The
Well,
canned answers, and I want somebody to come out and say and let the other side have it, and then let his own side have it when they're acting like a bunch of they're laying
hmm
there. When the Democrats start saying something, they act like they're a dog who just got his ass beat and he's laying there curled up. I can't stand it.
I had a history teacher tell me this once, and it
Thanks, Doug.
resonates. Yeah, we'll mention that here. But he always said, he goes, I don't understand this. He said, why, for some reason, the Republican Party, we always seem like we got to wear the white hat. The Democrats, they either wear a black hat, the good guy, bad guy, or they just don't care. They just go out there and they use their bully pulpit and they push through their agenda. They are very successful at it. They don't make no exceptions. Their idea of compromise is do it our way. And I don't know why. Why on earth we've got these spineless Republicans in the GOP that just lay over. Um, I've never understood it. I guess it's because I wouldn't. I never do. Never have. It's costed me things at times, but by golly, I've always stood on my principles. And hey, Doug, that's DJ. That's my buddy from Rapid City. 1925 to 1966 was the moratorium. So
Okay,
that's I thought it was
awesome.
right there and right before when the depression was going to start and take off. And yeah, that'd have been when it was, and that was one of the factors because of the economy. But there was other ones involved in that, of course, too.
Yeah, Randy, you got a couple boys. They're going to college. Tell them, hey, they need to be professors out at UMary or something. Get on it, buddy. You're
Marty,
right,
you're right.
Leon. Yeah, Leon's right. Hoven isn't a fighter. They
No,
always say that. Oh, behind the scenes, he's a fighter, and
nah. He's always been wishy-washy. I dealt with him on various things when I worked with the NRA, and granted, his Second Amendment voting record is pretty damn good.
right.
But if it comes down to it, I would imagine he would
Mister
turn tail and run if it ever happened. You know what I mean?
Mister Comprehensive. That's a definite shot at Hoven right there. Because every time he's in there, we need a comprehensive plan, a
Yeah,
comprehensive solution. Yeah.
you're right. Hoven is a good old boy that thinks he's just going to sit there and make the easy dollar. And yes, and he's an arrogant prick. I'll say it. Don't get me wrong. I don't care if you're arrogant. I don't care if you're an ass. I don't care. as long as you're a constitutional conservative and getting the job done, I'm okay with that. It's when they got mad at Trump over mean tweets, I didn't care. I was glad to see somebody saying it how it is. I'm kind of the same way.
Owen was always pretty nice to me when I talked to him.
I'll disagree with him once.
I did a little, I guess, probably not to the extent you did, but
And I mean, I can tell you, he got mad at an NRA event because he come in and he was invited as a guest speaker, not by myself. So I said, all right. I'm like, well, why are you here? He goes, well, I'm John Holman. I was like, yeah, so. He goes, I said, you need to sign this first because you remember those were 501c3 nonprofit charitable events.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't have you being up there. I said, you can talk about the Second Amendment, but you can't be talking about your campaign because he was running that year. I said, you can't talk about legislation. I said, you can talk about your office because you hold that office, but we have to. And I said, I have to have you sign. He didn't want to sign it. I go, well, you don't sign the form, you don't speak. And he goes, well, I want to talk to who's in charge. I said, you're talking to him. And we had quite a little discussion. He finally, realized that this is the way it had to be. And then he came in and he did a good job, but I can tell you it was not a pleasant conversation if anybody would have been listening to it. He don't like to be stood up to at all.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's got to get your butt out there and start supporting Rick Becker. That's sort of.
Well, and I tell you what. So speaking of that, I am going to give Rick a free plug here. So everybody, I want you to watch this.
I'm Rick Becker. I'm a conservative Republican, and I'm running for the United States Senate. The media and political establishment call me ultra-conservative or far-right, because all Republicans use the word conservative when they campaign, but very few are consistent and principled once elected. And that's what sets me apart. Aside from being a part-time citizen legislator, I have spent my entire life in the private sector. I've opened and operated several businesses, which created many jobs and contributed to our vibrant economy. I represent the exact opposite of a career politician. I represent the good people of North Dakota who believe that with hard work and planning, we can build a better life for ourselves and our children. First elected to the legislature in 2012, I have been hammering away at the status quo for 10 years. While many claim to be conservative, my actions have always backed up my words. Numerous rankings consistently place me in the 90 to 100% range for conservative and pro-liberty votes. In fact, just this month, I was awarded the only 100% rating in North Dakota by the American Conservative Union. I have many personal legislative successes, including constitutional carry, civil asset forfeiture reform, confidential informant reform, the Second Amendment Preservation Act, warrant requirements for drone surveillance, and, most recently, the prohibition of vaccine passports in the state of North Dakota. I've also provided important assistance in the causes of school choice, pro-life legislation, criminal justice reform, lowering the income tax, and even eliminating the property tax. I am an outspoken critic of do-nothing politicians in the legislature and the Republican Party, especially over the runaway spending during the last decade, both in North Dakota and in Washington. The way I see it, we can't expect our leaders to be the best they can be if we are afraid to critique or challenge them. This approach is what we desperately need in Washington, D.C. Principled conservatives who will do what's right regardless of whether it's politically safe. It is that simple. This is the time in which we must make a choice, either friendly and quiet or bold and passionate. Either go along to get along, or you take a stand for freedom. Either protecting a political career or protecting liberty and independence for all Americans. In your heart, you've already made the choice. You know what you want, what we need, what America needs. We need hard-working, passionate fighters. We need a bold, relentless advocate for the people of North Dakota. A leader who will work well with others, but without compromising on the values that matter most. Patriots know what the right choice is. You know what the right choice is. Now I need you to put that knowledge into action. I urge you to fight for liberty, to fight for the people of North Dakota, and to support me in becoming your next United States Senator. I invite you to be part of the change that is coming. Together, we will turn our country around. I'm Rick Becker, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Hey, and that's the guy right there, guys. Not everybody knows Rick, but I can tell you after spending some time up in Bismarck at the legislature, I know Jamie's been there too. Rick is probably, and I've said this Monday, probably the most successful legislator in Bismarck as far as Second Amendment bills go. He's probably been the very most successful at getting them passed, bringing them up, killing bad ones. I mean, the guy has done a fantastic job, and you won't find a more solid Second Amendment man than Rick Becker. Like I said, John Hoeven's records is good, but I can tell you right now, Rick Becker is the guy that gets down there in the dirt and fights, and he won't let a bad bill pass.
Here's the thing, too. He doesn't just support it; he promotes the Second Amendment, and that's
Yes,
an important thing for me, for somebody like that.
Well, just think of the conversation we had Monday. He was talking about he's looking for a new concealed carry firearm. He's been carrying one around that he doesn't really care for, and his wife has a nice Walther. And like I recommended, you need to go shoot several of them before you make your choice. We kind of told him to go up to the Personal Defense Center and talk to Nick, and he'll help him out. And I hope he does do it. He sounded like he was going to, but that's a guy I want, a guy who shoots, a guy who lives it, who's interested, who carries. He knows exactly what we're doing.
All right, Clay, I'm going to change the subject on here because me and you talked about this a little bit. So we're going to talk about with hunting season coming up here, some the posted land things here. So I'm going to get a few things here. What do we get? We got about 8 minutes left here. Clay and I just said we don't want to go too far over an hour because
I put that Rick Becker thing in, so we might go an extra 5.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. So the first one I'm going to go over is hunting on posted land without permission from the owner or tenant is illegal and punishable by suspension of hunting, fishing, trapping privileges for a period of up to at least 1 year. Okay. So land posted incorrectly is still posted. Hunting on posted land without permission can be prosecuted even if the land is not posted to the letter of the law. So before I know what Clay's going to say, but let me just say one thing, Clay. I still hunt with these guys, but they got their turds in a row now. But when we'd go buy land and there'd be a tire there, and the guy landowner would have put no hunting with white paint or something on it, and they're like, that isn't posted properly. And I was always like, yeah, but the guy said no hunting. You know what the hell he means.
Well, yeah, you do.
And they always came back with, well, you can't get in trouble if he doesn't have it posted properly. And I'm like, well, I think you can, but. Can you further expand on that one, Clay? You know that a little better than I do.
I do. So here's the deal. You're absolutely right. They can still come out, write you a ticket, if you can get one to do it. I forget I knew it the other day because I happened to actually be looking on something with it. But I can tell you that most of the time, if they do, and it goes to in front of a judge, they plea out of it, especially if it's a first-time offender, and nothing happens. If you can even get anybody to do it, usually a sheriff, well, you'll have a better chance. A game warden, good luck getting a game warden to do it. They'll try to negotiate with you as the landowner. It don't work with me. I don't have negotiation skills for that. You're on my land and you're on there illegally. I'm going to file a complaint, and not with the game warden. I did it 2 years ago. I had game cameras, caught the guy, caught him at the second one. Evidently, the first sign he didn't see, and the second one he didn't either. Well, I had their license plate, turned him in, and he did get a fine, which was nice to see for a change. But I can tell you right now, you're absolutely right, but getting it to anyone to prosecute is pretty tough. I'm guessing you're going to go into the second one too now.
Well, I was right here. It's illegal to hunt crops. It's illegal to hunt an unharvested cereal and oilseed crops, including sprouted winter wheat, alfalfa, clover, and other grasses grown for seed without the owner's consent. Okay. Okay. Well, this one's pretty commonsensical. I think it is illegal to deface, take down, or destroy posting signs. Well, yeah. I mean, if I see somebody do it, I paid a lot for them signs, actually. I pretty much paid for all the signs out on my dad's land and my uncle's land and my cousin's land. So they're going to get thumped with something if I catch somebody ripping a freaking sign down.
And you'd be surprised, even my metal ones, the North Dakota lockout ones, I have them disappear all the time every year. This year it ain't as bad. I got 3 I got to put up. I have no clue what happened to them because I know I didn't take them down.
Okay, well, I don't think this is a law here, but just failure to close. Okay, maybe it is.
It is a law.
Close gates upon exit or entry is a criminal violation, punishable by forfeiture of hunting. Okay, well, I didn't know that.
That's actually in the Century Code. If they fail to close a gate that they went through that was closed, yeah, they can get a. And I will say the game wardens are pretty good about that. If they seem to be sticklers on that. Go ahead and trespass, but close them gates. It'll give you a ticket.
Well, growing up on a farm a lot of my life, I just opening and closing the gate was,
it's just automatic.
Yeah. Okay, so it's still it's illegal to hunt upon the premises of another within 440 yards of any occupied building without the consent of the person occupying the building. This does not prohibit hunting on land owned by neighbors, even if the land is less than 1/4 mile from the occupied building. I knew the 440 thing.
Yep.
Okay, well, hey, that's about all it is for posted signs and that deal.
And
Leon, I think binary triggers have now been banned by the ATF anyways as of yesterday, so.
Oh, well, mine must have fell into the lake then. And I can tell you that the Franklin is a lot of fun, Leon. But I will also recommend, if you have something like that, although I don't know where you get one anymore, being they're supposedly illegal, but you're going to use a good AR with good components and hardened materials, because if you use like an AP4, an old DPMS AP4, or a what I would call an introductory AR, you will melt it down.
You did. I thought you had one. I was down at your place when I tried the bump stock out there years ago. Wasn't that a?
Yeah, and it did that. I've done it to a couple of them. Do not use the introductory ARs. They can't take the abuse.
Yeah. So, so should we start a little argument here before we?
Well, sure.
Allegedly,
so it's not an argument. It's discussion.
Discussion. So, is it, in your opinion, is it called a silencer or is it a suppressor?
That's like a baited question. Well, I've always called them a suppressor. And you're right. A lot of people, it's kind of like a mag versus a clip. But
yeah,
I do know that
silencers. Magazine is definitely a clip feeds a magazine feeds a rifle. So, but yeah, you've always called it a suppressor. I guess I've called them both, but I usually go with silencer, even though it's not silent. Mm-hmm. So, should I tell you what the original name of it, how this all started here?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, Hiram. Always good to get a history lesson.
Yeah. Hiram. Well, hey, I was speaking of history. Randy did post, and I said his boy should use one of his oldest son is going to UND to be a history teacher. So that's awesome, Randy. And then Randy's he's a great American right winger. I love the guy. I've known him since
all right.
Probably junior high school, but. Hiram Pederson Maxey, son of the inventor of the Maxim machine gun, designed these devices while inventing similar mufflers for automobiles, and he called both the gun ones and the vehicle ones silencers. He stated the Maxim Silent Firearms Company. He started to sell his silence. But, of course, 1934 NFA came along and...
yeah, that kind of screwed everything up.
Yeah. But so we got... Silencer Co., maybe the largest silencer manufacturer in America, and they're called Silencer Co. The number one seller of silencers in America is Silencer Shop.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah, I mean, so it's almost like the debate between pickup and truck.
Yeah. But it's official. It's official. The guy who made them called him a silencer.
Yep.
Yeah. So I got a text here from one of my buddies. Being a politician should not be a career. A politician should be a successful American doing their civic duty. Didn't all
Yep.
our founding fathers have jobs? Yeah, you're exactly right, Bill. Their
Absolutely. In
first,
fact, that's why they intended to go there, do the job of the people, and go back home to their lives the rest of the year. It wasn't supposed to be a full-time job. Um, I can tell you right now, I'm running for Sioux County Commissioner down here in Sioux County. And after I looked at the things they get in the little bitty Sioux County, and we're broke, we got a lot of reservation land. So there isn't a big tax base. And they give themselves a nice wage, they give them a state retirement, medical. I mean, really, this I don't want people who are running for the benefits. Like me, I'm running because we got to get some crap done. There's a problem. And that's why I'm running. My job is right here. That's not my job. This is my job. And I'm going to represent the people. And I know when I get there and I bring up a resolution to get rid of all that, I suppose it'll be voted down because I'll be 1 against 2 when I get elected. But nonetheless, I'll still fight for that because we got the same problem in the legislature. The wages ain't great. They aren't that great. But the per diems, and then they get state retirement and medical benefits and things like that. It's like, really? Why? Shouldn't that be your own personal stuff? And that's what's happening. You got guys that take early retirement, probably from their government job, and then they are off benefits. So they run for the legislature and get another government job and go out till about 65. Plus, who can take that much time off from work unless you're independently wealthy, own your own business, or semi-retired?
yeah, for sure.
So
For
that's
sure.
another problem. Wow, Josie, 22,000 a year in Burleigh County for a commissioner job, and I'm betting because just about every single one of these counties are doing full benefits because the state encourages them to do it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's pretty sweet for a side gig.
Yeah, I mean
You're
that's
right,
my.
Leon. It is a pickup. I'm agreeing with Leon. It is a pickup.
I call it a pickup too. Yeah, it's a truck. That's what I call green. And
I call
and
it
if
a can. Yeah, I call it a can too. The suppressors.
I've called them cans. I
Suppressors.
mean, technically,
You know what
I
I
guess
call
they're a
them? I
silencer.
call that a need. Is what I call it. A need.
Need. It's hearing protection.
Yeah, it is that, and it takes away a ton of recoil too. So
Marty Beard, politics has become a place where pussies can shoot off their mouths without the fear of getting knocked on their ass.
yeah,
Amen to that. I
yeah.
tell you what, after sitting in some of these district meetings and other things, I'd love to get up and knock the crap out of them because that's how we are. That's how we're wired. But yeah, we can't do it.
So maybe
Well,
Marty's listening. Maybe he can answer me this. I don't remember if it was before the war between the states. I think it was in Kansas or Oklahoma. They were trying to outlaw slavery in one of them states, and the Democrat got PO'd at this Republican guy, and then come in. I don't know if it was the next day or later that day with his cane or whatever, and beat the living crap out of this Republican.
I mean, it used
and
to
nobody
happen.
did nothing. Nobody did nothing. And the guy walked back. I mean, he kept his seat or whatever, but this Republican damn near died. He come back. I think he ended up being in politics the rest of his life too. But yeah, that was. I mean, do you imagine seeing something like that these days?
Well, there was a duel on the White House lawn on the grounds. I mean, it has happened. We used to be men, and that's the plain and simple truth. We're getting to this politically correct PC type thing. I'm not going to
there.
do
What do you
well in
mean
it.
getting?
Yeah, we're there. We are there. Hank Jr. sings a really good song called Dinosaur, and that's me. I'm a dinosaur, and I'm proud of it. I don't want to go down that path, and nor will I.
Right.
That's why I'm sporting my Reagan Bush 84 hat. That's an original, guys. This is the real deal.
Love it. Love it. I don't have one of those. I could buy a recreation, but I did, I did love Ronald Reagan, and growing up, as I remember it, most of my classmates in school, because I'm an 80s kid, most of my classmates loved Reagan.
Yep.
We loved Ronald Reagan.
I was a kindergarten when he ran. I was so proud to go home and tell my Democrat dad that I voted for Reagan in the weekly reader vote.
Marty should have run for Burleigh County Sheriff.
I think he'd make a hell of a sheriff.
For sure, Commissioner. I know he always says he'd get mad and slap somebody, and I told him that'd be the most attended. His commission meetings would be the most attended in the history of Burleigh County if he did that to somebody once.
Yes, we would. Leon, you're right, including from our own soy boy government. Yeah, and we got Mr. Soy Boy at the head of it in North Dakota.
So
Oh,
I
by the
gotta.
way, a quick thing, 'cause I'm going to address what Josie said earlier. It doesn't have a lot to do with guns, but he talked about the tax thing that was announced, the flat tax. Here's
Yep.
my take on it. Again, we have exclusions. Why are we always excluding people? Have a flat tax and be done. Make everybody pay. If you made $500, then pay your $5.
So
I
who's
don't
excluded
understand.
from it?
Oh, anyone like I think it's under 54,000 as an individual and 90 some thousand as a married couple. Why on earth are we doing it? And they said they're doing it instead of property tax relief because there's so many it doesn't affect as many people. There's a lot of renters. Well, that's a bunch of crap. A, I shouldn't have to rent my land from the government. And that's what property tax is. So
Oh,
property tax relief makes the most sense to me.
me
B,
too.
the renters will see a decrease because I guarantee you, if the property taxes go up on that piece of property, especially like I have a rental, you know what I do? I pass that cost on to the renter. Why should I take less money? It isn't like I sit there and go, gee, I'm just owning this for fun. No, we own it to make money.
Yeah.
I'm a
Right.
capitalist and I am proud to be a capitalist and I don't apologize for it. I don't have subsidized housing for people. If you want that, go somewhere else. We rent out a good home, and
So
that's the problem.
I'm curious if anybody else I got a text today. It's called survey at viewpointpoll.com, and I took it, and a lot of it was about Doug Burgum. So I'm not sure if he put it out or who put this out. I haven't a clue, but it was kind of a longer poll. It took me about 5 minutes, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but
Flat tax,
I did do
absolutely,
it. I
Leon.
did do it. It seemed like a North Dakota thing, but
No, Leon makes a good point. Getting back to the tax thing, flat tax across the board, everybody pays it, no exceptions. Done. And I can tell you what, they take in more money than they've ever seen it before. Plus, it's simple. But see, that's the problem. It's simple. You can't control people with simplicity. And going on what Josie said here, there was a meeting. The Southwest region had their Republican Party meeting last night with Perry. Guys, don't you think Perry ought to shave his mustache and he'd just have that perfect little Hitler mustache then? Anyway, District 8 threw PC out the room and Perry wasn't happy. I bet he was not. Perry is a little tyrant. He has little man syndrome. And yes, he was my district president on the executive board. Him and I are not exactly friends, nor will we be, nor do I care to be. The guy's a little tyrant. He reminds me a little Fauci. You know, I just that's what he reminds me. And if you disagree with that man, he will do everything he can to try and destroy you. Trust me on this.
hey,
Of course.
what did Ronnie D say about Fauci today?
Oh, what did I forget? That's right. He did say, what was it?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up right now. I never heard him say it, but
Yeah,
Clay
DeSantis kind
sent.
of he called him something like a little gnome or a little elf or something.
Okay, right here. Yeah, here's what Ron DeSantis said about Dr. If anybody doesn't know Ron DeSantis, he's the governor of Florida, possible presidential candidate. Somebody needs to grab that little elf and chuck him across the Potomac.
That's what it was. That's great. That's outstanding.
Oh, I
Oh,
couldn't agree
Waylon,
with
you're
him
right.
more.
It's just across the river. I wish that river didn't cut us off so hard in Sioux County because there's a lot of good people that live just north of that river, and yeah, they can't vote in my district.
All
Oh
right,
man, that's great. Well, I'll tell you what, I think we're doing good.
I'm
We're gonna keep.
gonna just say before we finish off here, if anybody hasn't been watching our videos, shooting videos, my buddy Axel Hondo, aka Dougie, we're gonna do one Saturday morning out at the Axel Hondo Rock Range. We're gonna do a 30-30. We've been doing pistols and pretty much semi-autos. So we're gonna go lever action style. It should be pretty sweet. Saturday morning looks like a good morning. I'm gonna try a different camera again. This is getting better than my iPhone, but we'll see how
Yeah,
that goes. And
I gotta definitely get you this camera up there.
yeah,
And also
yeah,
on
we're gonna do that for Prairie Dog.
What is it? September
2-4.
24th. We're all getting together. Me and I think Axel and Jamie and maybe Eric. I don't know. He wasn't sure. I think though he might have a conflict now with work, but. And I think my buddy Corey Merriman, remember he called into the show on Monday?
Yeah.
I think we're all going to go out and try to do a little P-dog shooting and have some fun. So
yeah, we're gonna have a good camera, and Doug's got a nice drone. We're gonna try to get some drone footage, and
there hasn't been too much shooting on that town, so I'm kind of excited to be out there.
And with Clay's editing skills, where we get the Prairie Dog going up, and coming back together, and going apart, and coming back together.
That will be fun, won't it?
Yeah.
I've never got to do
Looking
that.
forward to
So
it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be
one
awesome. But
one quick one. Do you have a happy ending of the day or not for us this time?
boy, not right off the top of my
Okay,
head. I don't.
that's okay.
Somebody. I seen it. I don't remember where. I think it was in California. Somebody tried to get carjacked, and the goon who tried to do it, guy pulled out a gun and put the sumbitch in the hospital. So hopefully, they're hoping the ending gets happier than him going to the hospital, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, hopefully it's a happy ending, and he's history. And he, well, as we said this before, he's a assumed room temperature.
I wasn't prepared for that. Yeah, I apologize for that one, but you know,
Hey, that's the way it
my
goes.
bad. My bad. Hey, if you guys got any suggestions or you want us something to talk about gun related or something pertaining to North Dakota, Clay and I'll be more than happy to do a little research on it. I mean, we're kind of a gun based show, freedom based, but we're
I
all
know we had
about
one request to kind of go over the Fourth Amendment, and I think we'll work on doing that. I didn't want to do it tonight, just because we weren't prepared for it. I mean, I know what it says, but there's a lot in that amendment to go over, and
yeah,
we can
well, which
definitely have that discussion.
we definitely need to do that. We definitely need to do that because hey,
So,
I'm a Bill of Rights fan. I mean, number two is just gets attacked a lot, seems like a lot more than any other one. So that's why.
well, without number two, we don't have any of the others, and
Right.
that's the truth. So,
Right. So yeah,
well,
we'll
if
be back next Wednesday. Clay, we're gonna do it.
next Wednesday we'll be at our regular day at our regular time. Like I said, we just did. Sometimes this may happen. Who knows? We might have to have Axel come in and substitute once in a while if one of us can't make it.
When what, Leon? I see you got when question mark. When what?
Oh, yeah,
When's the
when
prairie dog shoot, or when are we talking Fourth Amendment? When are me and Dougie doing a 30-30? We're doing a 30-30 Saturday the
Saturday.
27th here in 2 days, day and a half. We're doing that one, baby. That's gonna be ooh, and I got a lot of jugs, and we're gonna stop
You
and
know
get some
what?
watermelons yet. And
You know what, Jamie? If I'm gonna look at my schedule. Would you like to have a guest up there to do some video, and if I can make it up?
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
we'll see how that could work. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah,
All right,
that'd
everybody.
be awesome.
We're holding it at about an hour and 12, so we're a little over, but
Yep.
I think we did okay. Like I said, any suggestions, let us know. Definitely
Thanks,
spread this
Josie.
with your friends. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Share it, like it. All them cool, awesome things that people like to do on social platform medias. And we appreciate all the support that we've been getting. So
Big time appreciate you guys. It's awesome. Clay and I love doing this. We got to
yep,
keep it going. We want to keep this going. We want to keep the message going. Clayton, we just want to keep getting bigger and get more support. And I mean, that's what we're after, buddy. Right?
absolutely.
Hey, Clay, glitch free, baby.
I know we did
We
good
are,
tonight, didn't we?
yeah, we did.
We did good tonight.
We're
We missed
trying
a
to
few
keep.
subjects tonight, but that's okay.
Yeah, once you get talking and stuff gets scattered around, that's how it goes. Because we're having fun, and an hour went quick, and
Oh, an
it's
hour
it's
goes
easy.
fast.
It's easy
Don't
to
it?
do an hour. It's easy to do an hour, especially
We
we
don't
got good
take too many
listeners.
breaks.
No, we didn't take any. Didn't take
All
any,
right.
but
Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Again, Guns in a 701 every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central. That's right, Jamie, Guns in the 701. We are going to be going to the Man Show, and I got some things to discuss with Jamie on that, and maybe we'll have a few souvenirs to give out during that thing. We'll have to
hey,
see.
thanks, Scotty. Appreciate you listening.
So, all righty,
All right.
everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week on Guns and the 701.